Okay. So let's go for the paper solution. Ready? Raise your hands if you have got more than 58. Anybody who has got more than 58? Kapil, what's the score? Huh? I'm asking more than 58. No? You have got more than 58. Achha, exactly 58. How many of you have 58? Okay, many of you are having 58. You are the second highest scorer. Ubaid and Selvi has scored really well. So those who have scored really well, Ubaid and Selvi, one is from Kashmir, one is from Tamil Nadu, 64 out of 100. Both of you. It's a great score. 20 se niche kaun hai, it's not my concern. My concern is those who have lesser than 20, lesser than 30, talk to me. Okay? I want to know why. तो जिसके भी 30 से कम है, 35 से कम है, 20 से कम है, या 40 से कम है. In next coming days, make a group of 5 to 7, let's sit together, let's talk. वो ज़्यादा important, जो 64 कर रहा है वो चल रहा है, वो अच्छा है. लेकिन जिसका नहीं आ रहा है ना, we have to talk. If you could not understand the questions or something like that. Now I'm going to explain the questions one by one. I've taken a copy of Ubaid. You did not get it? What's the name? Raj. Raj की कॉपी क्या है? उनको दो, संस्कार की कॉपी दो. So have the questions. I'm using your copy, Ubaid. Those who have got 64, 58, 52, 54, make sure you keep repeating this performance. So ready? Let's go for the first question. Which of the following arrangements of Milton's poems are correct in chronological sequence? We have given you some poetries written by Milton, and the question is to set them in chronological order. Tell me the right answer. D? So I don't know the right answer, but I know. Do we have Nativity Ode there? Nativity Ode is first work. Timing 1629. Some of you made a mistake. Many of you went for on his birthday, and you selected that where it starts with birthday. See, Milton was born on 1608, and the poetry on his 23rd birthday. 1608 plus 31, 28, 23. What is the timing? 1608 Milton was born. There is a work on his birthday. On his birthday, after 23 years only, 23rd birthday is 1631. That is the second right thing. First is Nativity Ode, 1629. Then his birthday, that is 1631. Then the other options we have, then we have Paradise Lost, 1667. And then Samson Agonis and Paradise Regained, both are in 1674. But here you have to remember this thing. Paradise Regained is first, Samson Agonis is the last. So right answer दोबारा देखो. Right answer C. Next लिखो. Did you get the answer of the first question? Option C. Explanation समझ में आ गया? Anybody who is still confused? Nativity Ode 1629, birthday 1631, Paradise Lost 1667, then after that Paradise Regained and Samson Agonis 1674. Next one. 71 तो है, जब फाइनल पब्लिकेशन जो आता है दोनों का डेथ के साथ आता है. मिल्टन डाइड बाय 1674. दोनों एक ही फोलियो में पब्लिश्ड है एक साथ. Identify the critic who described the Restoration comedy as artificial comedy. Charles Lamb. We have done that. In the introduction of Restoration, I told you that. Who affirmed that Shakespeare knew small Latin, less Greek? Ben Jonson का famous line है on Shakespeare. He talks about Shakespeare, he praises Shakespeare, and there also he mentions that Shakespeare knew small Latin, less Greek. A famous phrase that, don't forget this one. Lady Sneerwell and Lady Teasel are the characters in Chicken Notes. In School for Scandal, we have written that along with Angelica, Valentine, and Miss Prue. These characters have been asked in exam. Okay, the next answer we have is School for Scandal. The next one is this is a character in Midsummer's Night Dream. When we were dealing, I told you this thing, the girl wants to get married to her lover, but father was against. Father goes to the court, so his name is important. Asus is the right answer. Name question number 6. A protagonist ruined by the Christians plans a revenge but dies by falling in boiling water. So those who have read the story, they know the direct answer. Repeating once again. A protagonist ruined by Christians. So there is a hero. He's ruined by the Christians. So we know there's issue of Christians and Jews. Plans a revenge. This is also part of revenge tragedy. But dies by falling in boiling water cauldron. That is Jew of Malta. This we have poetic justice. He plans it for the Turkish governor, but then he himself falls in it. Edmund Spenser's Fairy Queen celebrates Queen Elizabeth as a role model. The question is, to which dynasty Queen Elizabeth belonged? They are the Tudors. With Charles I, they will have stewards. Wife of Bath. This is a tricky question. Wife of Bath had used few pseudonyms to represent herself. Which of the following names was not used by her? One of you is saying Alice, A-L-Y-S. Option A, Alison. Option B, Alice. Option C, Gossip. Option D, Madam Bath. Her name was Alison. So if you have a name, you can sometimes go for your nickname. Alison and Alice is definitely used. Then Madam Bath and Gossip. What is Gossip? She was called Madam Gossip. And what is the question? Not used by. So she would not address herself as Madam Gossip. Her friends would call her. Why? Because she was fond of gossiping. और gossiping बहुत करती थी, तो उसके friends उसे Madam Gossip बोलते थे. The question is, which of the following names was not used by her? आप अपने friends के group में अपने आप को बोलते हो कि मैं सबसे ज़्यादा बोर करता हूँ, मिस्टर बोर नहीं बोलते ना, मिस्टर फेंकू नहीं बोलते ना, तो वो अपने आप को Madam Gossip नहीं बोलती थी. Her friends would address her Madam Gossip. It was a tricky question. But Madam Bath, you can introduce yourself. You can simply introduce that I am this. Loathly lady motif. The lady, she was ugly, clumsy. This motif is represented by which of the work? Wife of Bath's Tale. Who separated Mallory's? ये तो आपको आता होगा. This is just to be marked up. It is actually a question of NET exam also. Who separated Mallory's 8 books into 21 books? Subdivided these books in chapters, 507 chapters. But here, one of you has made a mistake. Ubaid, why did you go for Tennyson? और कोई जिसने Tennyson? Who is Tennyson? Victorian writer. We are talking about Mallory's famous works and all. Tennyson has written connected to Idyls of the King. So he tried to use the logic. It's a good approach. Use logic. If you have no direct answer, try, use your logic. Tennyson has talked about King Arthur. He has talked about Morte d'Arthur. He has written a famous work, Idyls of the King. But the direct answer is Caxton. Caxton was the first printer. He printed it. That is the first one. The next one, the famous character Colin Cloud was originated by. That's what you have to remember. Colin Cloud was made famous by Edmund Spenser. The first writer who introduced Colin Cloud is Skeleton. This is the right answer. 11th B, John Skelton. Minor writer, but actually he's the first person to introduce the term. Just like Edmund Waller. Everybody knows Poe for close couplet. But the man who introduced is Edmund Waller. 11th ka Skelton. Scholars called him the best modern poet. William Cooper. The Iliad is a mock epic written by. So these writers who are writing mock heroic works, just like, who is the writer who has written Batra Comio Chapman. So there was some writers, they were trying to write mock heroic works or parodies. So they are the writers who are the satirists. So technically Christopher Smart is not a very important writer. He was imprisoned. There he wrote a poetry on the prison walls. That poetry was also famous for some time. Christopher Smart has written a parody of Iliad. That is called Iliad. So make sure you remember that. The next one, name the female character, okay, who is not added. Name the female character who is not added in the group called Blue Stockings. Why not Lady Monimia? Lady Monimia is a fictional character. In which book we have character Lady Monimia? Orphans. Who wrote Orphans? Thomas Otway's Orphans, 1680. The first domestic tragedy. Acasto Castellio Monimia, right? What was the signal in the famous book? 3 soft stroke on a chamber door. The next one. The famous phrase storm in teacup can be applied to. So first we must understand what is storm in teacup. To making a molehill to create issues unnecessarily. So dekha jaye to rape of the log. It is not an issue, right? So there are 2 friends, they were playing and having bet, so the boy cuts the log of the girl. But the way Pope deals with it, bringing gods in the story, that's what we call the storm in teacup. Chai ke cup mein tufan. Next one. Yes. Iska answer rape of the log. C. The next one. Match the followings. There are a group of writers and there are some names of groups. So instead of going for the options directly, just tell me this thing. Do you know these people? Milton, Thomas Brown, Thomas Fuller, John Bunyan. Who are these people? Religious writers. पहली बात तो मिल्टन आ रहा है ना, मिल्टन के आते ही रिलीजन शुरू हो जाता है. Milton was not the part of any other group. Milton was a Puritan. Milton, Thomas Brown. What is the famous book written by Thomas Brown? Religio Medici, 1642, Religion of a Doctor. Then the other works are also there, Urn Burial, Hydrographia, right? Thomas Fuller, he was also a religious writer. John Bunyan. Bunyan, whatever he has written is all about religion. All these writers have one thing in common, they are religious writers. The answer is theological writers. Theology, the books related to, the studies related to religion. Next option, John Gay. So we know him, who is this man, 18th century writer. Samuel Johnson, again 18th century writer. Jonathan Swift and Thomas Parnell. If you remember my lecture, I told you this, that there was a question in NET exam. I made a mistake because I thought that Parnell is from Romanticism, pre-Romanticism, graveyard poets. He will not be included in the group. I made a mistake. He was added in the group. Which club is this? Scribblers Club. George Herbert, Andrew Marvell, Marvell सुनते ही पता चल जाएगा आपको. John Donne, Abraham Cowley. Which group? Metaphysicals. Thomson, Cooper, Goldsmith, Crabbe. कौन से एज में करा हमने? किस एज में करा था? Pre-romantics. And pre-romantics are also called transitional poets. You have got your answers. कौन सा ऑप्शन ज़्यादा सही है? Match it. A is right. Okay. First D. Yes, exactly. A is right. Question number 17th. When I was teaching you Augustine's, I made it clear to you that the word nature in 18th century stands for the other type of nature, not the natural environment. Question, who among these is the question number 17, the word nature that is highlighted, capital, in 18th century literature stands for. I already have made it clear, but let's see how many of you went for the right answer. Nature of writing, human nature of Augustine's, external nature, classical preachings. You all missed it. Human nature in Augustine's. अब आया समझ में? It is, see, Augustine's का अपना nature था. Human nature था. You actually got confused. कितने लोगों ने लगाया human nature of Augustine's? 12 से 15 लोगों ने लगाया ना? बहुत गलत आंसर लगाया. It's nature of writing. I told you nature and wit will come for writing only. Nature of writing. It's A. Human nature तो है ही नहीं, मतलब ही नहीं. Human nature is not there. I just wanted to know how many of you think like me. It is nature of writing. The word nature, you can write it there also. The word nature and the word wit, W-I-T, wit. It will always be used for the writing only. Not even classical preachings. Classical preaching is the second closest answer, but the perfect answer is nature of writing. Writing की बात कर रहे थे वो. To copy nature is to copy them. If you want to copy nature, the nature of writing, copy them. Got it? Don't be confused next time. Who among these is given the credit of using the word romantic for the first time? Schlegel, Kant, German writers हैं. ये tricky question था. Wordsworth and Collins were the people dealing with romanticism. Who has given the right word? Romanticism, romantics. Who is more romantic in Wordsworth and Coleridge? Who found mysticism in romanticism? Coleridge comparatively is more romantic than Wordsworth. So who should be the right answer? फिर भी German writers किसने लगाए? Who went for Immanuel Kant? We talked about Immanuel Kant's reference. Who went for Schlegel? Option A, Schlegel is correct. Wordsworth, Coleridge कैसे लगा सकते हो? German philosophy, Strom and Drang inspired. The word romantic itself is a German word. German answer है. गलत आंसर नहीं करने. Friedrich Schlegel is the direct inspiration for Coleridge and Wordsworth. Match the following. Question number 19. Okay. So we have 4 options and 4 dates. Act of Uniformity. 707. Perfect. Seasons, famous publication. 1730. Battle of Blenheim. 1704. Elegy written in Country Churchyard. So match the answers. Match the answers. कौन सा सही है? B. Act of Uniformity 1707. Those who don't know it, in 1707, under the rule of Queen Anne, England, Scotland, Holland, they all came together and formed the idea of Great Britain. The first formation of Great Britain that happens in 1707, primarily England, Scotland, Holland, and Wales area. Then in 1800, Ireland will also join them. So proper the formation of Great Britain will come in 1800. But it starts with 1707. Act of Uniformity. So Scotland, Holland, Wales, plus England. They changed their business policies. They opened their borders for each other. So technically England became stronger. So make sure you remember that. Act of Uniformity 1707. Then we have another point, seasons. So when I was introducing the introduction of pre-romanticism, we talked about James Thomson. Thomson is called father of pre-romanticism. Normally pre-romanticism starts with 1745, after the death of Pope. But then we have the reference that there were some writers who wrote it by the time of Pope. Seasons is in 4 books. Winter, summer, spring, autumn, WSSA. Because this is also a question. He wrote it by 1730, started 1726, 4 years, 4 books, 1730. Seasons is one of the most important, groundbreaking work of pre-romantics. And he's called the father of pre-romanticism. So direct answer, Seasons 1730. Matched it. Battle of Blenheim, 1704. Tories were fighting. We have done this. Edison supported Tories, celebrated their victory, wrote a famous work, Campaign. So Battle of Blenheim is 1704. Next, Elizabeth Country Churchyard. It's a world classic. मैंने बोला था इसका timing याद रखना. 1751. Now just check this thing. Do we have the same answers for option D everywhere? Suppose you just know Elizabeth Country Churchyard. Then there are 2 options, they will still confuse you. B and D. See, if you know chronology like everything, so alone, Battle of Blenheim alone can save you. या तो, you know, with my experiences, what happens to me, if I find these kind of questions, I go for the rarest option, जो सबको नहीं आता है. एक बार वो मैच हो रहा है, तो I'll simply go for any of the option where it's matching. बाकी देखने की जरूरत भी नहीं है. But आप मत करना. ठीक है? You can't afford to take risk. Throw away thy rod, throw away thy wrath. Oh my God, take the gentle path. Lions take. Which one? It's Discipline by Herbert. To confuse you, I have given option C and option D. Gentle Path by Bunyan, Wrath of God by Krusha. These poetries do not exist. ये टाइटल मैंने अपनी मर्जी से बनाए हैं, तो बी एंड सी को हटा दो, वो वर्क भी नहीं है वो, अगर आप सर्च करो तो नहीं मिलेगा. This is what we call leading for the answer. To lead you for the answer. The lines are like this. Wrath of God. Here you have the wrath. So leading you to go for wrath of God. Gentle path. The last word is gentle path. These kind of questions are also in exam. They will lead you for the answer. You will read the question. You will find 2-3 phrases matching with the answer. And normally anybody would think that it is the direct connection. वहाँ lead नहीं होना है. इधर. Next one. Damn with, ये तो आता होगा. Damn with faint praise, who breaks a butterfly upon a wheel? Who breaks a butterfly upon a wheel? Damn with faint praise. So this is epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. Remember, Arbuthnot told Alexander Pope not to mess up with Lord Harvey. Pope was repeatedly calling him homosexual under the name of Sporus. So Pope replied this thing. And here, in this particular line, who breaks a butterfly upon a wheel? Now you have to pay attention. Who breaks a butterfly upon a wheel? So there was a punishment in 18th century that if you do some theft, if you do some crime, so they would have the big iron wheel. एक लोहे का बहुत भारी iron wheel होता था. And they would place your hand like this. आपका हाथ या आपका पैर. They would place it in. It was a big, heavy iron wheel and they would rotate it. So technically breaking the bones. What does he say? Who breaks a butterfly upon a wheel? Why would I use a wheel to break a butterfly? Message is that Sporus, Lord Harvey, is a butterfly. And my satires are like a wheel. So उसकी अभी भी insult कर रहा है. वो कह रहा है कि यार इतना बड़ा satire क्यों waste करूँगा मैं इसके लिए? वो तो deserve भी नहीं करता है. मच्छर है वो मेरे लिए. So this is a phrase, a famous phrase. There were punishments which we have to remember. एक question आया था from Victorian age. Skimity ride punishment. In Mayor of Castrobrez, when Luceta's affair gets revealed, she's been given the punishment, skimity ride. Yeah, the punishment of transportation. Yeah, locked in the tower. There are multiple types of punishment that you have to remember. The next one, this is the line, I'm sure you can answer this. The terms like Atticus and Sporus. Atticus is Edison. Sporus, find out the right answer. C. The question number 23. We have talked about this thing in the sonnets. Petrarch is the father of sonnets. Petrarch and sonnets, and this was also the question of exam. When I was attempting the question at the time, even I didn't know this. जब मैंने वो एग्जाम दिया था तो मुझे नहीं आता कि sonnets लॉरा के लिए हैं. But now I know. I don't repeat my mistakes. So Petrarch's love sonnets addressed to the ideal woman, Laura. She is the ideal woman. The next one, the lines, the famous quotations lines. Till the conversion of the Jews, my vegetable love should grow, vaster than empires and more slow, and hundreds of years should go to praise. This is a famous line written by a metaphysical poet, John Donne. एंड्रू मार्वेल से कनेक्टेड लग रहा है, बट ये जॉन डन है. क्या पढ़ क्या माय गॉड. सनराइज ही नहीं पढ़ा किसी ने? कितने लोगों ने एंड्रू मार्वेल लगाया? 5-7 लोगों ने एंड्रू मार्वेल लगाया. और जॉन डन कितने लगाया? एंड्रू मार्वेल है ये. दिस इज एंड्रू मार्वेल. ऐसे मत करो यार, मैंने पढ़ा है, नाम है मेरा बाहर. Repeat the line. Till the conversion of Jews. We discussed this thing. He says, till the last Jew gets converted to Christianity, I will wait for your love. तो ये पहली लाइन बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है. दूसरी लाइन, my vegetable love should go. There also I explained this thing. He is talking about his hormones, vegetative state. He says, my love, my hormonal love, I will let it grow for you. I'll keep waiting for you. ये तो भूल मत जाना यार. और ये कह रहा मेरा प्यार इतना बढ़ जाएगा, वास्टर देन एम्पायर्स हो जाएगा. एंड ही सेज हंड्रेड्स ऑफ ईयर आई वुड टेक टू प्रेज यू. डू नॉट मेक दिस मिस्टेक. ये ब्लंडर है. जॉर्डन मत लगाना आगे से. कौन मिस्ट्रेस है? रिवाइज दिस वन. दिस वाज अ रैंडम क्वेश्चन because I told you, many of you initially also, that please read world classics. So who is Frau in Anna Karenina? The name of the horse. All the animal characters are important, so it was just added question to add more pressure so that you get confused. So the right answer is Anna Karenina. The name of the horse is Frau. And for your help, this is the question of net exam. ये मैंने वहाँ से as it is pick कर दिया. Next one. Which city Dr. Faustus? Yes, that's the religious place. Extensively. When Faustus knows the last time has come and he wants to know the other issues, how can he get rid of it? So he keeps on traveling to the religious place. Burns Supper or Burns Night is celebrated on 25th January. In Tempest, who has been called an honest counselor? Here भी नेट का question है. Gonzalo is the right answer if you have answered it. Question number 29. Let's see who answers this. A verse form using stanza of 8 lines. 11 syllables. And it is known as. First of all, Ottawa Rhyma I did not teach. मैंने नहीं पढ़ाया. Ottawa Rhyma is mostly used by Byron. Decasyllabic couplets were used in Anglo-Saxon. So मैंने पढ़ाया ही नहीं है पहली बात. I did not teach. We have talked about free verse and Spencerians. Pushkin stanza we talked in Pushkin sonnet. When I was introducing you, there I told you that Pushkin also used to write. So why did you go for Ottawa Rhyma? You have the direct answer. Repeat once again. 8 lines with 11 syllables known as. Spencerian में 8 और एक 9. तो एक एक्स्ट्रा होता नहीं होता है? डोंट वरी, ऐसा नहीं है. ओटावा को हानि करने वाला हूं लास्ट में. Now listen to it again. We did not do Ottawa Rhyma, right? So if we did not do, then how many of you can answer it? We did free verse. What is the rule of the free verse? It is not a paper solution only. I'm telling you how to attempt exam. हमें Ottawa Rhyma नहीं आता. We don't know Ottawa Rhyma. But what we know is free verse. Option A. What is free verse? Free from everything. So no lines, no syllables, nothing fixed. First of all, option A, cut. Option B, Spencerian. We have done this in class. It is 9 lines, 8 lines, and the ninth line is Alexandrine. Pope called it serpentine. Rhyme scheme is ABAB, CDCD. What is that? Abba, CDC. AB, BC, BC, C. ABAB, BC, BC, C. That's the line thing. Then this one is Pushkin stanza. Now read the question once again. A verse form using stanza of 8 lines with 11 syllables each. Pushkin stanza, we just gave you the introduction. That's a sonnet style. That is also not the right style. So अगर हमने मान लिया Pushkin भी हमें नहीं आता है, so at least we know that the right answer either would be C or D. This is called elimination style. When you attempt the question is totally unknown to you, go for the wrongest answer. So rest of your logic will be used for Ottawa Rhyma and Pushkin things. Octave, Ottawa, 8 lines, matching है. Octave, Ottawa, 8 lines, matching है. Question number 30. Which of the following most directly relates to the joining of Scotland to England and Wales 1707 to form a new state of Great Britain? Defeat of Spanish Armada answer किसने लगाया है? Except Ubaid. और किसने लगाया? Spanish Armada fight was 1588. Chronology will help you. Revise करो. Next question. Which of the following was a major factor? ये बताओ. Which of the following was a major factor in the unprecedented economic wealth of Great Britain during 18th century? The question is, what is the reason behind the richness of England? It became super rich in 18th century. What was the reason behind that? Option A, formal diplomatic relation with China. They came in contact with China, the diplomatic relations started. How can you forget citizen of the world? लिंची अल्तानजी. ऑप्शन ए, चाइना के साथ ट्रेड रिलेशन स्टार्ट हुआ था. ऑप्शन बी, द एक्सप्लॉयटेशन ऑफ कॉलोनियल रिसोर्सेज, लेबर एंड स्लेव ट्रेड. रिमेंबर उरुनुकू, रिमेंबर द निग्रोज. सो when you get new colonies, new areas, and you are getting the colonial resources, labor and the slave trade, Which should be the right answer? First or two? Second. Third one भी सुनी लो. The American and French Revolution. American Revolution 1774, French 1789. हाँ, he's right. American पे तो खर्चा ही हुआ था. चलो सी हटा दिया. लोगों ने सी भी लगा रखे हैं. यूनियन ऑफ इंग्लैंड, स्कॉटलैंड एंड वेल्स. सबसे ज्यादा पैसे कहां से आए? You give me the answer. I'll not give the answer. Unprecedented wealth, not normal richness. बड़ी वाली richness, बहुत पैसा. Unprecedented wealth. इतना कभी सोचा नहीं था उन्होंने आएगा. क्या रीजन होगा? Okay, so repeating the answer for you. The right answer is act of uniformity. These kind of questions will be there in exam. All of the options, technically, all of the options are correct. Technically, चारों आंसर सही हैं. But the finest answer out of all these answer is act of uniformity. No, this time I'm not playing. I'm giving the right answer. England, Scotland, Wales. When you have three countries together, you have taxations, you have border issues and everything. But then you lift the border issues and everything in all these three countries. Suppose करो ऐसे इंग्लैंड था, यहाँ स्कॉटलैंड था, यहाँ वेल्स एरिया था. They would have boundaries, multiple taxations, no relations, no marriages, issues and all. They removed the boundaries and they called it Great Britain. Their sea trade, other trades, business, it all started. Second thing, colonial resources were not being exploited by this time. The extreme colonization comes in the end of Romantics, early Victorians. Real colonization, exploitation of colonial resources, that will come in early Victorians. वहाँ पे colonization strong होगा. यहाँ पे तो they were just expanding, they were just going, settling down. 18th century, इंडिया में सेटल होने में उनको काफी टाइम लगा था. 1757 प्लासी का फाइट, वहां से they started establishing themselves, then going for multiple wars. In fact, they started colonizing, so 1857 revolution happened. They were taking a lot of time. Third thing, diplomatic relations with China, yes, they started trade business with China. But again, it's not that much valuable. Now, when we talk about American taxation and American colonization and French Revolution, America was colony. But they were having issues there. So they must have made money because America was a great colony. अमेरिका ने उनको बहुत अमीर बनाया है. फ्रेंच रिवॉल्यूशन में आई डोंट नो डायरेक्टली कैसे उनको पैसे मिले या नहीं मिले, बट अमेरिकन कॉलोनाइजेशन हेल्प देम टू बी रिच. बट वी हैव टू गो फॉर द फाइनेस्ट आंसर, सबसे बड़ा फाइनेस्ट आंसर. सो इफ यू रिमेंबर दिस थिंग, इफ यू नो दैट यूरो, द करेंसी यूरो, इट्स ऑलमोस्ट इक्विवेलेंट टू डॉलर और मे बी अबव, राइट? Euro is a common currency that can be used in European continent. It's a common currency. So when you have a common currency, you have more value. तो इनके बिजनेस सिस्टम बेटर हो गए थे. छोटे मोटे दुकानदार भी बड़े बड़े बिजनेस करने लगे थे. So that's the main reason. Had it been the question like this, that the 19th century richness, it's all because of colonization. This is the question of 18th century. The next one, clear? The next one, क्योंकि ये एक्ट ऑफ यूनिफॉर्मिटी का इमीडिएट वो है, रिजल्ट है. देखो फर्स्ट आप ना एक काम करो, सारे आंसर दोबारा देखो. डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशंस विद चाइना, व्हाट इज द लाइन इन योर ऑप्शन? रीड द पॉइंट अगेन. फॉर्मल, डिप्लोमैटिक. इज एनी वर्ड यूज लाइक दैट? ट्रेड, फाइनेंशियल रिलेशंस. सो डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशन स्टार्ट हुआ तो उससे क्या हुआ होगा, कितना पैसा आ गया होगा? सेकेंड थिंग, when you're talking about exploitation of colonial resources, this is 18th century. 18th century में इंडिया में देखो ना, अंग्रेजों ने एक्सप्लोटेशन शुरू नहीं कर दिया था. दे वर जस्ट सेटलिंग डाउन. कभी रानी की झांसी रानी से लड़ रहे हैं, कभी किसी से लड़ रहे हैं. दे वर सेटलिंग डाउन. बंगाल में उन्होंने पॉलिटिक्स खेली, सिराजुद्दौला को मरवा दिया, मीर कासिम वगैरह को आपस में लड़ा के. वो धीरे धीरे सेटल हो रहे थे. एक्सप्लोटेशन स्टार्ट होगा उनका 18th सेंचुरी के बाद. 1807 फर्स्ट कॉटन मिल that comes to here, to India. They started supplying cotton to England. अफ्रीका में ज़्यादा कमा रहे थे, लेकिन गोल्ड और रिचनेस इंडिया में ज़्यादा थी. अफ्रीका was still unexplored place. Africa was not a proper village, a proper town, or a proper country. They were divided in tribal areas. They would have 100 people a tribe, 200 people a tribe. It was easy to colonize them. So colonizing Africa, they were not making that much money that they were making from India. इंडिया में तो कुछ करना ही नहीं होता था, सीधा गोल्ड उठाओ, बहुत गोल्ड मिल जाता था यहाँ, तो वो यहाँ से ज़्यादा ला रहे थे. बट अगेन कॉलोनाइजेशन ऑफ अफ्रीका भी 18th सेंचुरी के बाद स्टार्ट होगा. अभी तो दे वर जस्ट एक्सपेंडिंग द बाउंड्रीज, दे वर गोइंग टू द एरियाज. द नेक्स्ट देखो, लेबर एंड स्लेव. लेबर एंड स्लेव इंग्लैंड में आएगा विक्टोरियंस में. हाउ मेनी बुक्स यू स्टडीड इन 18th सेंचुरी डीलिंग विद लेबर इश्यूज? We have references of exceptional works, Urunuku, slave tradition, but that is again in Africa. The hero goes to Africa. वहां से आ नहीं रहा था, वहां जा रहा है. Slaves आएंगे विक्टोरियंस में, slave narrations विक्टोरियंस में आएंगे. नेक्स्ट क्या था? अमेरिकन फ्रेंच रिवोल्यूशन. तो रिवोल्यूशन में तो कंट्री नेवर गेट्स बेनिफिट. वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट अमेरिकन कॉलोनाइजेशन. यू कॉलोनाइज अमेरिका, यू मेक मनी, बट द ऑप्शन सेज रिवोल्यूशन. सो व्हेन दे आर फाइटिंग बैक, हाउ वुड यू गेट मनी? The next one, the D, that's Union of England, Scotland and Wales. 3 कंट्रीज के बिजनेस. अभी हमारी जीएसटी हट जाए, 28% जा रही होगी. आपके बहुत सारे फैमिली मेंबर्स बिजनेस क्लास हैं, तो अब मम्मी पापा को पूछो, अगर 1 करोड़ कमाया तो आपका 28 लाख सरकार ले जाएगी. इफ यू अर्न 1 करोड़ 28 लाख आपको सरकार को देना है. 28 लाख, तो अगर जीएसटी हट जाए तो अचानक से बिजनेस हो जाएगी. बिकॉज उसके अलावा भी आपको बहुत सारे खर्चे करने होते हैं. ऐसा तो है नहीं कि 28 लाख दो और बाकी सब आपका, उसके भी अलावा बहुत सारे खर्चे हैं. तो ये सारा जो यहाँ पे था बिजनेस हट गया. ट्रेड वाला सिस्टम, चार्जेस, टैक्सेशन, सब कुछ. इट बिकेम कन्वीनियंट फॉर देम, इट बिकेम ईजी फॉर देम. सो आउट ऑफ ऑल दीज 4 आंसर्स इट्स ओनली डी. दैट देयर यू हैव टू थिंक. इफ दे से all these reasons, then all of these reasons are right somewhere except the revolution. Next one, James I used to consider himself, like to imagine himself as the modern version of Augustus Caesar. बहुत सही आंसर है, we have done that. Which writer was not active under the rule of Elizabethan and James I? Who was not active under the rule of Elizabethan and James I? Give me the right answer. How John Milton, जो मिल्टन को बोल रहे हैं, how John Milton, why not Shakespeare? The timing of Elizabeth, James I. So technically we are looking for the writer who did not write from here to here. So when we say, okay, let's go for the answers. I can tell you the direct answer also. Let's go for the answers. William Shakespeare. Can we say William Shakespeare did not write anything from here? He is an Elizabethan author, so he's obviously there. Ben Jonson. Contemporary of Shakespeare. Famous works 1598, 1599. Every man in his humor, every man out of his humor. Walpole 1605, Alchemist 1610. So technically active writer. John Donne, born 1572, died 1631. 1572, born here, and died approx almost there. So most of his famous works, Ignatius and Conclave, Anatomy of the World, sonnets came later. Sonnets came later, 1633. So if they give just one book, then it was out of that. But they're asking about the writer. So he was active, very much active. His famous work, Devotions, written by 1624. There are many works like this, Pseudo-Martyr, 1601. Then Milton, born. The first famous work, Nativity Ode, comes in. That's your answer. Nativity Ode, the first work by Milton, got published in 1629 after James I. You have the right answer. जिसने शेक्सपियर लगा है वो रिवीजन करो ढंग से. (31 से? हाँ 31 बताइए. वो फ्रांसिस बेकन का कॉल है. फ्रांसिस बेकन उसको किससे कंपेयर करा उसके लिए हम नहीं बोल सकते. किंग किससे कंपेयर करा? किंग अपने आप को. द क्वेश्चन इज जेम्स I लाइक्ड. कौन हो सकता है अपने आप को 4 लोगों से कंपेयर करे? प्राइमरली क्या था? सी हिज क्वेश्चन इज दैट फ्रांसिस बेकन कॉल्ड जेम्स I वाज लाइक किंग आर्थर. बट व्हाट इज द क्वेश्चन अगेन? Sometimes you have to read the question. Even if you have a clear fact in your mind, you read the question. देखो क्वेश्चंस क्या कह रहे हैं. James I liked to imagine himself. So that's a personal note. खुद को इमेजिन करना चाह रहा है. अभी आप में से कोई भी मुझे शाहरुख खान बोलो, लेकिन मैं अपने आप को पर्सनली बॉबी देओल मानना चाहता हूं. और क्वेश्चन आ रहा है विनीत सर पर्सनली खुद को क्या मानते हैं, तो शाहरुख खान थोड़ी आंसर है, वो तो बॉबी देओल है ना, क्योंकि क्वेश्चन क्या है, हिमसेल्फ. द क्वेश्चन इज जेम्स वन लाइक टू इमेजिन हिमसेल्फ as a modern version of. Now, if you remember, when James I became the king, he was an outsider. People did not like him. There was Guy Fawkes plot, gunpowder plot. So he simply said that I want to be a king like Augustus Caesar. Learning from the Pax Romana, he introduced Pax Britannia. We have a direct fact. He wanted to be a king like Augustus Caesar. And if we have writers, so writers can call anything. Writers तो आपको कुछ भी कह देंगे. राइटर तो शैडवेल को भी बहुत बेवकूफ बोल रहा था, तो शैडवेल खुद को थोड़ी मानता था. फैक्ट क्या है, किंग खुद को क्या कहना चाहता था. सो ही सेड दैट आई विल फॉलो द रूल ऑफ ऑगस्टस सीजर. सो दैट्स द राइट आंसर. नेक्स्ट वन, 33, क्वेश्चन नंबर 33. व्हाट वाज द इंटेंडेड टारगेट ऑफ गन पाउडर प्लॉट? The intended target was actually the royal family. The target was to blow the royal family. A blast, boom, and things finished. But then what was the intended target, the location? In House of Parliament, they were going to have a celebration. So it was clear that in the Parliament House, they will have a stage. All the family members of the royal family, they will sit there, and Guy Fawkes and others, they arranged bombs, gunpowder, 39 barrels of gunpowder. बड़े-बड़े barrels होते थे. वो उन्होंने stage के नीचे fix कर दिया. They fixed it under the stage. It is just one of them revealed it. They all got caught and brutally killed. Next one. Which of the following was not? Which of the following was not one of the 4 bodily humors? मुझे पता है आपको कोलेस्ट्रॉल लग रहा होगा. जानबूझ के मैंने ऑप्शन दिया डी. ऑप्शन डी कोलेस्ट्रॉल, विच लुक्स, क्योंकि वो आज का प्रॉब्लम है ना. हाँ, मुझे भी डॉक्टर बोलता है कीप वॉकिंग, कोलेस्ट्रॉल बढ़ रहा है. बट दैट इज अ ट्रिकी क्वेश्चन. वो आपको मैंने जानबूझ के दिया है. सो थिंक अगेन एंड टेल मी द राइट आंसर. द राइट आंसर इज कोलेस्ट्रॉल. कोलेस्ट्रॉल द राइट आंसर. ये भी क्वेश्चन है ना. टाइपिंग मिस्टेक भी होती है पेपर में. कुछ क्वेश्चन में टाइपिंग मिस्टेक मिलेगी. इतने पेपर दे रखे हैं ना, क्या क्या एक्सपीरियंस को बताऊं. एक क्वेश्चन आया था, व्हाट इज दिस. ये क्वेश्चन है नेट एग्जाम का. आई मेड अ मिस्टेक. आई थॉट टाइपिंग इशू है. इट इज एज ऑफ पोप. मैं इसको एज ऑफ पोप पढ़ के भी आया था पेपर में. गूगल करो एज इट पोप, नेट के क्वेश्चन में मिल जाएगा आपको. मुझे लगा इट्स एज ऑफ पोप, अ टाइपिंग मिस्टेक. Later I found that agit prop is a kind of movement which has propaganda. If you are fighting against some government and using a lot of propaganda, that is called agit prop. So I did not know at that time that this is a proper term. तो मैं इसको कुछ और समझ रहा था. ठीक है, ये भी याद रखना. इतने एग्जाम दूंगा तो कुछ ना कुछ तो सीख के ही आऊंगा. Next one. Words from which language? Again a question of net exam. Repeated question of net exam. Words from which language begin to enter English vocabulary around the time of Norman conquest? You made a mistake again. 1066, Norman conquest, right? What is the question again? The words, they begin to enter in English language from Norman conquest, right? Why not it's Latin, the first language? Come again, follow. Why not Latin, and why did you ignore Old English, archaic English? Danish को काट दो. Danish is totally wrong. Option D is totally wrong. Give me the right answer in ABC. Old English the first base है. That is Angla language, the first language. Latin पहले से थी. फिर French. Sure. लॉक किया जाए. चलो. 1066. Normans came from Normandy. That we have done in class, right? Normandy was a place in the area called France. So Normandy, French territory, Norman French tribe, and the language came French. Remember this thing? First Latin language, then French, then English. This is the line that you have to remember. The first language, if either they will go for the original dialectic language, the dialects. Otherwise, the first proper language was Latin. Anglos, Saxons, Latin language. Normans came, French language. And then Chaucer worked on English language, East Midland, right? Right answer is French. They have repeatedly asked these kind of questions. तो गलती नहीं करना ऐसे questions बहुत आए हैं. Who would be called English Homer and father of English poetry? It could have been the right answer, but you have one option, Cadman. Cadman भी है, Bede भी है, and Dryden भी है. Remember this kind of question. When you have three writers or three options, they are closely associated. So sometimes you have to check the fourth one also. Who has been called father of criticism in English? Who called him? Why not? It's Dryden. Dryden also used to tell stories. He was also the follower of classics. Why not Dryden? Chaucer was no doubt a great poet. Cadman is also one of the first writer, first poet. Bede is also one of the first poet. But why not Dryden? Dryden has officially been called the father of criticism. लेकिन फर्स्ट ये तो क्वेश्चन नहीं है ना कि इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज किसने यूज किया. How many of you want to go for Chaucer? Raise your hands. Almost everyone? Anybody who went for Dryden? ठीक है, Chaucer is the right answer. Now listen to the question again. Who would be called English Homer? Whenever they use the name Homer, first of all remember classicism plus story. Homer is father of storytelling. Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, Troilus and Cresside, they are all stories. And Canterbury Tales has the wide variety of stories. In English, the line in English. So technically it's Chaucer only because he tells the 30 plus stories, right? Then the second point that they are saying, father of English poetry. Dryden called Chaucer father of English poetry. Remember that? Yes. If you remember the fact, we have done that. ये किया है ना हमने क्लास में. Chaucer has been called father of English poetry by Dryden, and Arnold said, it is with him our real poetry is born. So no doubt Chaucer is the right answer, right? Question number 37. Which of the first is the extended written specimen of Old English? Extended specimen of Old English. ऐसा कौन सा वर्क है जो ओल्ड इंग्लिश में लिखा हुआ है और अभी तक एक्सटेंड होता जा रहा है? The Consolidation of Philosophy, Boethius. That is one of the first philosophical work. Jerome's translation of Bible. Bible अभी तक है. It is being edited, it is being changed, it is being rewritten, but Bible is still there. Let's consider other options also for a better answer. Mallory's Mortality Arthur. Do we have more writers writing the same thing again and again? No. Option C is totally wrong. A code of law promulgated by King Ethelbert. One of the first rule book. Just like Magna Carta. The Magna Carta came in 1215. Just like that. Code of law, the first ever rule book by King Ethelbert. Which is the book which is being extended and is available now also. Being extended. Okay, so we all know about this thing. The first Bible, then second Bible, the translated version, then again and again, again and again. Even we have the latest Bible. So what should be the right answer? The right answer is Saint Jerome's translation of Bible. कितने लोगों ने लगाया था? 3 लोगों ने लगाया था और मुझे बाइबल बोल रहे सब लोग. Right answer is Code of Law, promulgated by King Ethelbert. Now see the loopholes. The name of the Bible, had it been only Bible, या तो सिर्फ बाइबल होती. कौन सी बाइबल है? Jerome's Bible, Vulgate's Bible. Jerome's Bible, Vulgate's Bible came to an end with the translation by Wycliffe. And let's go for Wycliffe Bible also. All these Bibles were rejected once a fresh Bible came, King James Version. So it is not started from that. Either it should have been like this, that King James Version Bible. So now that's the final Bible. No changes. Now they are not making changes. Are we ready for the changes in Ramayana and Mahabharata every year? कोई नया पब्लिकेशन आया रामायण में लिखे कि राम भगवान जो है पार्ट टाइम हॉकी खेलते थे, हम मानेंगे नहीं क्योंकि रिलीजियस चीजें. We don't want any kind of games with religious things. So Bible used now is the only Bible that was the 1611 Bible. No extended version. What is being extended? The first ever law book. First ever. सबसे पहली कानून की किताब. Right to property, right to live. ये अभी तक सिर्फ ऐड होता जा रहा है, नया नया हो रहा है और कंटिन्यू है. That is the first ever rule book. Don't forget that. एक और रूल बुक आएगी बाद में, उसमें ऐड हो जाएगी. That is Magna Carta, 1215. That the book came in 1215. Magna Carta. That is what the first constitution. This is called first constitution. Magna Carta, 1215. ये भी याद रखना. The next one. We have talked about the kenning example. We have taken the example of kenning, right? The use of railroad for the sea, life house for body. It's the device kenning. The simple thing, you just have to have hyphen in between. Fire heart, used for wine. This hyphen is used for kenning. This is a literary device used in Old English. Kenning. ये French Latin words होते थे, यहाँ पे add होते थे. When they would not have a proper word, they would use hyphen to tell it. Book, home. Which word? Book and home. Library. किताबों का घर. Library. So when they would not have proper words, they would go for hyphen. That is called kenning. Used in medieval English. Make sure you remember that. Don't forget. The another famous work, Tess Petty, She's a Whore, 1633. John Ford, A Revenge Tragedy. Then match the followings. Trinculo will come in City Madam. Giles Overreach. New Way to Pay Old Debts. Sorry, Luke Frugal. Luke Frugal is in City Madam. Trinculo is in Tempest. Remember the person talking to Caliban. Imogen is the daughter of Cymbeline. What is the right answer? B. कुछ क्या मैच हो रहा है? I'm just giving you the right answer. Match again. Okay. Just let's go for the most famous character we know. Trinculo. Tempest. Trinculo Tempest में कहाँ कहाँ connect हो रहा है? कितने options में? ABD में आ गया. अब हमारे पास दूसरा ऑप्शन है शेक्सपियर का Cymbeline. Imogen is the daughter of Cymbeline. मिल गया? Two characters known, two unknown. But still, Luke Frugal, City Madam, connected. Giles Overreach, New Way to Pay Old Debts. Next one. Among these who have told prologue before their tales. किसने किसने prologue दिया है before the tales? Again, this is a tricky question because there are 4 options. Only 2 of them are correct. Now you tell me who are these people. Wife of Bath has a tale, okay, and a prologue, or Partner and Parson. Option A, option B, both are correct. Option A, option B, both are correct. The next one, whose tale deals with 7 deadly sins? Yes, Parson's tale is not a tale, it is a sermon only. Now we have quotations, lines. Of shining altars of Japan, they rage. The silver lamp, the fiery spirits blaze. John Donne, जापान कहाँ पे है? East of the world. दूसरा ऑप्शन कौन सा है? Rape of the Lock. Third option, John Donne, Mistress Going to Bed. Fourth is Coy Mistress. Here he is actually talking about the crockery Belinda used to use. Japanese and Chinese crockery. Rape of the Lock is the right answer. Set them in order. ये बताओ कौन करेगा? Try. Okay, we have the options like this. Tiger we have, Tyger. Tiger is written by William Blake. William Blake is a pre-romantic writer. Next option we have is Daffodils. Daffodils is a poetry written by Wordsworth. Wordsworth is a romantic writer. So here we know pre-romantic or romantic. The next one we have Skylark, written by Shelley. Again a romantic writer, but comes after Wordsworth because he is the second generation writer. Dover Beach is a Victorian work. That's by Matthew Arnold, 1867. Now if they ask you the timings, then Tiger, Songs of Innocence, Songs of Experience. So may it be 1789 or 1795. Then Daffodils, that comes by 1820s. Then 1807, 1807. Then this one, Skylark, that's around 1820s. And then the last one, 1867. Clearly, alag genre ka hai. Pre-romantic, romantic, second generation romantic, and Victorians. Order mein set ho gaya. Who wrote sequel to Chaucer's Nun Priest Tale? Robert Henryson, Chanticleer the Fox. Chanticleer the Fox. The same story was written by Robert Henryson, the Scottish Chaucerian. 44 का ऑप्शन टाइगर कर दो, फिर टाइगर के बाद डैफोडिल्स, फिर स्काईलार्क, फिर डोवर बीच. सी. 45. क्वेश्चन नंबर 45, राइट आंसर रॉबर्ट हेनरिसन. क्वेश्चन नंबर 46, फियरफुल सिमेट्री. ये लिखा था हमने क्लास के अंदर, टाइगर का जो एरिया है, टाइगर्स एरिया. क्वेश्चन नंबर 47, जॉन वेनब्रू wrote Provoked Husband. Yes, when you will read the book, you will find out they will mention two writers. Vanbrugh, Colley Cibber mentioned together. 46 का था Tiger. Revise the notes again. 48. Who is this writer? बताओ, फिर आपको उसके बाद लंच ब्रेक मिलेगा, फिर क्लास करेंगे. 48 कौन है? युगा, जोनाथन स्विफ्ट कैसे पता है? Dean of the Catholic Church. How many of you revised Jonathan Swift? There I made you write a line. He was called Champion of Liberty. उसको नाम दिया था. Jonathan Swift was called Champion of Liberty. In this line, there are two different things. First thing, Doctor of Sacred Theology, Dean of the Cathedral Church. But when they say Dean of the Cathedral Church, John Donne was also a dean. So with dean word, you can be confused. John Donne also became the dean. But then the most important thing is, he was called, dot करके अलग से डाला है clue देने के लिए मैंने. He was called Champion of Liberty. This is Jonathan Swift. The next one, in which play of Ben Jonson Shakespeare acted as Noel? ठीक है. Who is called the first English writer to write pastorals? Edmund Spenser made pastorals famous. It is Alexander Barclay, a minor writer. Make sure you remember that. ये काम आएगा टेस्ट पेपर बाद में. We are done. चलो लंच करके आओ. 2 बजे क्लास स्टार्ट हो जाएगी. आधा घंटा आपका 30 minutes. Go for lunch. We will finish romanticism today.